The UN Security Council and NATO are holding emergency meetings today, trying to answer a big question. How should other nations deal with the crisis in Libya? And is U.S. military intervention an option on the table right now? Joining us with some answers is retired General Wesley Clark, the former NATO commander. General, good morning to you.
Morning, Chris.
Muammar Gaddafi has vowed to fight to the last drop of blood, to become a martyr. Do you see this turning out into an all-out civil war in the region?
Well, it depends on how strongly the protesters and the dissidents in the eastern province can organize. Weapons are available, probably not the same quality that Gaddafi has. And if he holds on to Tripoli, and if the day of rage doesn't work, he then will, of course, go after those in the eastern province. I don't think he's got the forces. I think if the people really are against him, that his own forces will collapse and they'll end up fleeing for their lives. But you could have a lot of people hurt in the process. President
Obama considering what he calls a full range of options, including sanctions. General, do you think those sanctions, though, are enough to quell this situation?
Well, I think you've got the first concern, of course, is the American embassy, American diplomats, their families. You could do a non-combatant evacuation option and try to use military force to pull out Americans. But beyond that, the question is, what's the basis for action? What is it that we're trying to do? Gaddafi has been recognized as the leader. He's not under indictment. You could put sanctions on. You could charge him with violations of things by the excessive violence in there. But first, you have to build a basis for action, a legal basis. You have to bring your allies on board, and then you'd have to decide what's the real purpose. I think, you know, the last option is to go after Gaddafi and intervene in this conflict at this stage.
They're talking about a military intervention. What would that look like to you, General?
Probably a non-combatant evacuation. You might send some forces in to land at the airport and pick people up. You might send naval vessels into a port. You might establish a secured area to facilitate loading people up. You might establish a humanitarian assistance center provided by the military, supported by supplies flown in or shipped in overseas. I think the last option is to go in and actually use lethal force. There's no basis for it right now. You might be able to construct such a basis through the United Nations, but those debates haven't taken place yet, and they would depend very much on Gaddafi's actions and how much force is used.
General Wesley Clark, we appreciate you taking the time from Los Angeles this morning.
Thank you,
General.